Urgent, Steelers fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones hints at substantive trades in works. Could George Pickens be one of them? Earlier today on 93.7 The Fan, Yahoo Sports insider Charles Robinson mentioned that Omar Khan is expected to field calls for potential trades involving WR George Pickens. He also noted the Dallas Cowboys as a potential destination for him. Barely an hour later, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones strongly hinted that they are working on a couple of imminent trades. We're looking at two things that could happen before or after the draft. Two pretty substantive trades, Jones said via Fort Worth Star-Telegram's Nick Harris on X. Been working on today. Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan spoke about George Pickens today during their pre-draft press conference. They said they are excited to have both DK Metcalf and Pickens on the roster. It really sounded like they weren't actively trying to shop Pickens. He also mentioned that he was not necessarily looking to get back into the second round. Even if they trade back in the first round, they are unlikely to net a second-round pick in return. The only way to get into the second round would be to trade Pickens. The Steelers traded their second-round pick to acquire Metcalf just before the start of free agency. Trading Pickens would only seem to put them right back where they started at the WR position, with an abnormally weak group in this year's draft. The Cowboys' main draft needs include running back, wide receiver, and cornerback. Receiver is by far the worst position group of those three in this draft. There are plenty of running backs to be had. The corner class isn't spectacular, but there is some depth to the group in the middle rounds. A trade to fill their WR need would make a lot of sense. Jones took a lot of flack last year for stating they were going Allen before having a lackluster off-season. The Cowboys then fell flat and missed the playoffs in the 2024 season. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if they made a splashy move, which he seems to be already hinting at. Pickens would certainly qualify as a splashy move. It is also worth noting that Micah Parsons is due for a new contract that matches or tops Myles Garrett's record-breaking deal. Could one of the trades that Jones is talking about involve him? We shouldn't have to wait long to see, as the draft is a natural deadline for working out trades when draft capital holds more immediate value. Pausing this news, just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest, the Black Hand Gold news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Steelers quarterback trade proposal ditches Aaron Rodgers for 180 million, former Pro Bowler, even though they're the last team standing in the sweepstakes. It is not a foregone conclusion that Aaron Rodgers will choose the Pittsburgh Steelers as his next destination in free agency. During an appearance on the Pat McAfee show last week, Rodgers revealed that he still hasn't made a decision and noted that retirement remains an option for him. Rodgers did say, however, that he isn't waiting for another team, so it appears to be Pittsburgh or bust for him. "I'm open to anything and attached to nothing," Rodgers said. Retirement could still be a possibility, but right now, my focus has been, and will continue to be, on my personal life. And that's what I've told the coaches. There's still conversations that are being had. It's all been very honest lines of communication. In the event Rodgers decides to retire or the Steelers simply don't want to wait any longer, the team needs to have a contingency plan in place. Many people believe that's drafting a quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft, but the team could also spring for a veteran who can be a bridge for the coming season. One of those potential veteran options is Atlanta Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins, who was recently suggested as a potential target for the Steelers by CBS Sports' Jeff Kerr if Rodgers decides to retire or the Steelers ditch the waiting game. While the Steelers await for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision, Cousins could certainly be a backup plan as a veteran mentor for a young quarterback, Kerr said. Pittsburgh is very likely to draft a quarterback in the early rounds of the draft, someone who could compete with Mason Rudolph for the starting job. Even with a rookie quarterback, the Steelers have too many pass catchers to allow a rookie or Rudolph to start week 1, Kerr added. Cousins may entertain the possibility of Pittsburgh if he feels a starting job is in his grasp and one he can maintain for the entire 2025 season. He'll still have to compete with a rookie for the job, but is the quality veteran quarterback the Steelers need in their quarterback room. While Cousins looked like a shell of himself last season, it's fair to wonder if he just wasn't himself in the first season back from a torn Achilles, which is pretty normal for a player coming back from such a serious injury. In Cousins, the Steelers would have an adequate form of competition for Mason Rudolph, who's currently penciled in to start if nobody else is brought in. Adding Cousins also wouldn't preclude the Steelers from drafting a quarterback, as Omar Khan made it quite clear the team plans to carry 4 into training camp. Skylar Thompson, who is under contract, would be the 4th. We discussed in Palm Beach at the NFL owners' meetings a couple of weeks ago that we go to training camp with 4 quarterbacks. Right now, we have 2 on the roster. All options are on the table on how we acquire those last 2. Khan revealed Tuesday. I assure you we'll have 4 when we get to Latrobe for training camp. One thing that could prevent the Steelers from going after Cousins is his contract. The 4-time Pro Bowler still has 3 years left on his $180 million deal, so the Steelers might not be keen on absorbing that on top of having to give up draft capital. But with the precarious quarterback situation the Steelers are in, we can't rule it out. Steelers RB Jaylen Warren signs RFA tender. The Pittsburgh Steelers RB has signed his tender. The Pittsburgh Steelers will now officially have Jaylen Warren ready and set for 2025. The former undrafted free agent signing out of Oklahoma State signed his 1-year restricted free agent tender on Tuesday, the team announced. Warren will be taking on the role of Pittsburgh's starting running back now that Najee Harris is in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Warren's explosiveness has been one of the best aspects of the Steelers' offense over the last 2 seasons. In 2023, he totaled 784 yards and averaged over 5 yards per carry. He took a small step back in 2024, but was also dealing with a hamstring injury. He still averaged over 4 yards per carry and had 511 yards and added 38 receptions out of the backfield. While Pittsburgh still needs to find a second string back to spell him, they at least have multiple seasons of proof that Warren can give them a jolt in the run game, and he will now get the chance to do it with starting reps. ESPN gives an odd reason for Steelers being the worst fit for Shedeur Sanders. The Pittsburgh Steelers have become a likely landing spot for Shedeur Sanders, but there's a belief Pittsburgh would be a bad fit for the quarterback prospect. In the weeks leading up to the 2025 draft, there has been a lot of smoke between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Shedeur Sanders. With the belief that Sanders could slide on draft night, he became a feasible option for the Steelers. With that in mind, Pittsburgh hosted the quarterback for a 30 visit, and both sides raved about how good the meeting was. Sanders joined the Up Adams show on his way home from the visit and said the experience was a 10 out of 10. He detailed that he understands why the Steelers win a lot, and even compared head coach Mike Tomlin to his father and coach, Hall of Famer Deion Sanders. The younger Sanders, who has the same confidence as his father, even said it'd be a mistake for other teams to let him land in Pittsburgh. We just talked to Shedeur Sanders at the Pittsburgh airport, everything you need to know about his visit with the Steelers. Hey Kaya Dam's Shedeur Sanders pick. Twitter, ComDIDP19080Z up, Adams Up and a Damn Show, April 10th, 2025. The Steelers seemingly feel the same way about the visit, evident in the things Tomlin said during his pre-draft press conference on Tuesday. The veteran head coach called the meeting very productive and praised Sanders for his toughness, competitive spirit, and other intangibles, in addition to all the plays he made. There is a toughness, competitive spirit that don't get talked enough about. Shedeur Sanders Steelers, Mike Tomlin pick. Twitter, ComF2VJNJRVMF93. 7. The Fan 937, The Fan April 22, 2025, reading between the lines. This seems like a partnership that both sides would love to make official on Thursday night. Despite this harmony, not everyone is convinced Sanders coming to the Steelers would be a good fit. Ben Solak, in a recent ESPN piece, detailed what kind of player Sanders is, what he needs to thrive in the NFL, and ranked the fits of possible landing spots for Sanders. Of the 4 teams the divisive quarterback prospect has been linked to, Solak argued Pittsburgh is the worst fit due to the type of receivers DK Metcalf and George Pickens are, as well as how an ideal Arthur Smith offense looks. This would not be good for Sanders. Pittsburgh's 2 big-name receivers are DK Metcalf and George Pickens. They are best on vertical balls, and though Sanders can throw Pickens plenty of 50-50 and back shoulder opportunities, I do not see him pairing well with Metcalf. Metcalf needs to make catches on the run away from contact, and Sanders regularly throws his receiver into contact. Additionally, Pickens and Metcalf have poor feel for the position. When the 2 improvise, they often are not on the same page as their respective quarterbacks. leading to incompletions and interceptions. Perhaps Sanders would better understand their play styles and preferences, but that's challenging for a rookie quarterback. Ben Solak, ESPN argues Shedeur Sanders isn't the ideal quarterback for DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Steelers. This is an interesting take because on the surface, one would believe Pittsburgh is great for a rookie quarterback because of these two talented pass catchers. However, watching Sanders' film, and it's understandable how Solak could reach this conclusion. During his time at Colorado, the quarterback prospect was very clearly in sync with his top two receivers, Travis Hunter and LeJohntay Wester, often allowing them to connect on unorthodox, improvisational routes. That's why Solak says Sanders needs creative, instinctive receivers to succeed, though Solak did acknowledge the possibility of Sanders adapting to Pickens and Metcalf's style and preference. Going back to the quarterback's film, it's fair to say Sanders would be able to adjust. Colorado had a high-scoring offense, and all the production came from the passing game, led by Sanders and four talented receivers who should all be drafted. From the aforementioned Hunter and Wester to Jimmy Horn Jr. and Will Shepard, each receiver was different, and Sanders understood that. He knew where they each liked the ball, how they ran their routes, and what their strengths were. He demonstrated that knowledge by utilizing each receiver differently, but still setting them all up for success. That should comfort the Steelers. If they have any concerns about him adjusting to DK Metcalf and George Pickens, Sanders has proven to be an adaptable quarterback that figures things out, and that's why he should be an option if he's still there at 21. Steelers leak massive decision on quarterback draft in first round. The Pittsburgh Steelers have long been rumored to draft their quarterback of the future in the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday night. According to one Steelers beat reporter, the team might be leaning towards drafting a defensive lineman. In a mock draft conducted by the Los Angeles Times, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac has projected the Steelers will bypass the quarterback position and draft a defensive tackle. He projects them taking Walter Nolan with the 21st pick of the first round. Nolan would certainly fit the bill for the Steelers' need for a defensive tackle. Has an impact run defender and pass rusher, as evidenced by his 75, 0 pass rush grade and elite 91, 6 run defense grade per Pro Football Focus. The Ole Miss product was a consensus All-American in 2024 and had 5 sacks during the season. He also had 14 tackles for loss. This still does not solve the Steelers' quarterback issues. They have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson on the roster, but general manager Omar Khan said he wants 4 quarterbacks to go to training camp. The team allegedly has a 1-year offer on the table for veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers, but he does not seem to be jumping at it. At 41, he also does not solve the Steelers' long-term need to solidify the position. The Steelers have been linked to 3 different quarterbacks, and all 3 should be off the board if they try to wait, and Pittsburgh doesn't even own a pick in the second round to grab one anyway. The team has brought in Colorado's Shedeur Sanders, Nolan's teammate Jackson Dart, and Alabama's Jalen Milroe. All 3 could be first-rounders, with the Steelers leaning another way. And now, Steelers fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for the black and gold. I'll be back any moment with more Steeler Nation news. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.